So the next person has an incredible Facebook feed, I have to say. Every project he presents is mind-blowing. He has a master's in architecture from Architect School at Bergen, but he's also studied social anthropology and landscape economy, as well as history of philosophy. He explores architecture not only through art, but also from a social anthropological perspective, which I look forward to listen to more. And he collaborates a lot with students. And one of the projects he works on now is this opening ceremony in Bodø, which will happen in next year, I believe, 2024?
Yes, February next year.
Yes, perfect. And it's a collaboration with Phase 7, Nordland Theater, and Ada Jürgensen. There you go.
Thank you. So I'm Petter Bjørnådal from Bjørnådal Architect Studio. We have a studio here at Kaia, just looking over the harbor, an amazing location. We were very happy to find this place. And we've been here for now 1 year, and we hope to develop this place further. We think Kristiansund has so many amazing opportunities. And I'm very happy that Carl is having this seminar and getting all these people together. It's an amazing thing. We are doing projects, we have like a large scale of projects. It's from art projects, it's from, we do housing, we do planning, but it always starts that we want to do like a poetic, want to have a poetic approach, and we want to have a holistic approach. And like whatever project we have, we try to like find something that we can elevate the project on. So every project goes from sketching, programming, visuals, and then to actually constructing it. When I first came here, we're trying to find out, like always trying to find out, like what is like the local identity. We see now in city planning that we always look to Big Brother. Like if you are in Mo i Rana, you're looking to Trondheim, what are they doing? And you start to copying them, instead of like believing in what is happening in your own city. So with this project, we started to look at dry cod, and this is the reason why we have this city. And it's the reason why we have like all the cities in northern Norway and on the coast. And we are looking to find what is special with this place. And in Kristiansund, they're drying cod, and they have like this shield that they put on top of the fish, so it doesn't get bad from rain. We're trying to make like a new structure, not to copy what has been done before, but it's still like getting something from the old form, and we build this structure to dry cod. And this is all about connections, because we were invited to Venice Biennale to do a project. So we're bringing actually Kristiansund to Venice. And these connections have been there for 500 years, maybe even more. If you go to Venice and you go to a restaurant, you have all the meals and it's all with dry cod from this area. And it's quite special to see that we were doing this performance, and we just like, we're bringing the cod, and we're bringing it to Venice, and people are so proud. And they know this. This is like food for a week. And all of these cod, they were just spreading all around Venice. And even though I went back 1 year ago, and I just come by like a restaurant, and they was just asking like, what are you doing here? And I was telling about this project, and okay, no, it's free wine for you. We remember this. So it's like the connection is so deep in Venice and the city. We developed this project further. We wanted to bring in students from Kristiansund, and also students from Venice. And we were looking at fish eggs and trying to get a connection there. We were setting up a workshop also with Geir Morten Karlsen from Averøy, who is the master of glass, and he was teaching them how to make an imprint on these glasses. So instead of going to seeing the past, we were trying to get the future from the students. We had an exhibition here in Kristiansund Kunsthall with the works from Kristiansund videregående. And then we brought it to Venice. And it's quite beautiful work. And here you see it in Giardini Marina Ressa, looking over the harbor. And like every one of these are unique. It's the dreams of the students. After this, we were invited to having the opening ceremony for Bodø 2024. This is quite like an amazing story that I think is important for Kristiansund. Like Bodø is now the European capital of culture. 20 years ago, they were shutting down the NATO base in Bodø, and they didn't know what to do. Like, where are we going with the city? So they decided to make a culture house, which is Stormen, you all know this. And when they first got this culture house up, something started to happen with the people and with the belief of the people. And they suddenly starting to believe in themselves. It's not about like having the cheap restaurants around. It's about having the best restaurants. Because you're going to seeing big culture and you want to elevate that with fantastic food. And so they build this confidence. They start to build new architecture. They even say that we want a new city. Like what to do with the old airport. So we build a new city. And they couldn't have done that like 20 years ago. They didn't have the confidence. And then they even go on and win against Inter Milan in football, and you cannot even talk with them. So there's something about confidence that I think we will see here also in Kristiansund. When we get up Nordmoria, when we get the campus, and starting to believe in what Kristiansund is, because it's an amazing city. In this project, we are trying to make like a cultural heartbeat of the city. We're trying to unite all of Nordland, because it's not only Bodø. When you're a cultural capital, you have like a whole region you need to take care of. We were looking like first on like a drum, And then we went on to looking on cod, because cod is the reason why Bodø is existing. It's the reason why we are here. Norway bought the first fighter planes with dried cod. That's the only reason before oil. This project is now it's taking inspiration from the fish or the ear of the cod. This is quite a special organ. And if you take it out, it's like kind of jewelry. You can make quite beautiful things of it. And people around the world have used it as jewelry. And we are also taking inspiration from the Northern Lights. And this project will be standing there in Bodø Havn, the harbor. It will be 18 meters in diameter and 30 meters high. We have this, the opening is in February, so we need to do this show whatever happens. And we all know that in northern Norway there can be like a hurricane. So this is quite special to make something that we need. We know it's going to be a national television, and we know it needs to be done. To something else, I was grown up in Mo i Rana. Around Mo i Rana, there's a big mountain, which is called Okstinnan. It's a very special mountain because it's like the meeting between the coastal culture and the inland culture. So you will have like a connection straight to Finland, to Russia, with the Sami, and you will also have the connection going to Portugal and Venice. And everything is like going around this mountain. So we were invited to do a scenography for this play called Klemet, and it's about a Sami shaman who was living there, and he was living under a rock. This is called a heller. And the Sami has like this knowledge of landscape that you can have like an avalanche going 2 meters on the side of this rock, but you know that you're safe. So, but this cultural tension between the Sami and the farmers in this valley is so big that they actually blew this up. So we woke up in, it was in '83, I think, and the newspaper, the first page is like, this is blown to pieces, and nobody knows who has done it. And so the farmers are like secretly just hushing it all down. Everybody knows who it is, but still it's this big tension. So this project is about the healing of a community. And how can you heal a community? So we're looking at the drum. This is like the Sami, how you build a story. And we're trying to put all the stories on the drum. And we make all of the villagers come and play a part. So you cannot hide anymore. You have to play out the story and see every part of this story. We make the movements on the drum and creating space for this healing. So now this project has gone for, it's 12 years, I think, and they're very proud of it. And they starting to get like a unity in this valley. We made all of this project, I think we had a budget of like 10,000 euro. It's like nothing, so how do we do it? So we need to find materials in the valley. So everything is reused from barns in the valley. And for like the backdrop, we don't have anything. So what do? We make a haystack and we put some light on it. So it's, by being creative, you always like find a solution to getting it done. Verket was one of my first projects. I came out of architect school and into like the architect office and feeling that it's not like what I really want to do. So we're trying to do something else. So Verket is a festival in Mo i Rana, and we're starting to study the industrial heritage of the town. And Mo i Rana is a steel city. It was founded after the war. It's mainly from a declaration from the state that we are going to be independent. We're going to have our own steel industry. And we have hydropower, and so we can make our own steel. But what we found is like this pride. And you think like you're working at the steel mill and what are you doing? But working with these people, and they're coming, we are just asking, can you help us with making this project? And they say yes. So they make it like quite fast, and they come in like some kind of Jedi knights and just doing their work, and this pride, like we did this, and we know what we're doing. So it's still standing there in Mo i Rana. And we had a workshop for kids where they could do whatever they wanted to do with the walls, putting up their opinions. Meditative landscape. We were invited to Lithuania by Vytautas Landsbergis. He's the son of the famous Landsbergis that freed Lithuania from Soviet Union. After the Soviet Union, Lithuania was having like an identity crisis. What are we doing? Like, who are we? They have been under the rule of Soviet, and before that, they were under the rule of Germany, and before that, they were under the rule of the big Polish Empire. So they don't really know who they are. And that's the reason why he invited for this workshop, to find like the stories of Lithuanians. Our approach was to put up spaces for meditation on the landscape. So we were putting up like gapahuk. This is the very small shelters that we find all over Scandinavia, but it's looking over the marshes, which is very powerful in Lithuania because you have all these myths coming from them. And we were working with these rocks. These rocks is a very big element for the witches in the region, and they're looking at their paganism as a source of identity. So they will come and make offerings to these stones, putting on flowers, so it becomes like a cultural object. And we also made like a snake with water the snake in Lithuanian mythology is very powerful. And we made places for seating where you can have discussions, singing, and creating or starting to create the identity. Let's see. The last project I will show is called Community Landscape. It's a project in Tromsø. We were invited to make a public artwork in Grønnåsen skole. It's located a little bit south of the airport, but on the big ridge. So our approach was to make a project that can be used by the students, but also by the neighborhood. So we are looking at the landscape elements. We're starting to make some drawings on how to make a landscape. These are our first sketches, and we have like a budget on, I think it was 800,000 we had first, and this is during COVID. We ended up like with a double, like the prices were rising. So it was quite stressing project. We made the project from CNC, from wood. So it's like, I think 396 pieces of wood. Ben Adams was our carpenter, cutting all the pieces and then putting them together again at the site. Here we're putting up the form. When we're working with CNC, the detail and the precision is so important. Like if you do 1 millimeter wrong, you can just forget about the project. So we had to be quite innovative about finding solutions on site. So here you see how you put these pieces together. And I think we used 2 weeks on site, 3 people getting this project done. So it was quite focused work, and we're quite happy about it. With this form, it's people can really find their own way of using it, and we see kids are finding their own ways, their own like places, and I think it's very good for like the creative brain to you're not being told that you have to play here or do that. It's like you have to find your own way of using it, and I think it's quite nice. Okay. Any questions? No, it would be fantastic. Yes. Tenkte på kunstprosjekter? Ja, vi har en del arkitektoniske prosjekter på gang. Vi har noen seksmannsboliger på Innlandet. Så vi på gang med sånne prosjekter. Vi har lyst til å utforske kunstprosjekter. Og vi har jo kanskje et håp om å ta det Spears-prosjektet tilbake hit. Nå det lagret i Venezia. Det tross alt laget av elever fra videregående her. Så det kunne vært fint å fortsette på det på et vis. Så tror jeg det kommer ganske mange muligheter og prosjekter her med det samarbeidet vi begynner å få her med Kristiansund kunsthall. Byen full av muligheter her, så vi gleder oss til fremtiden. Tusen hjertelig.